Well, sometimes they refer to it as petro-Islam. You know why that is? Because most of the known oil reserves are located in lands where let me put it this way, most of the world's known oil reserves that are easy to extract are mainly in areas where the fundamental religion is Islam. So, they call it the the petrodollar, but in a way it's it's petro-Islam or Islam petro, however you want to look at it. Now, I'm going to actually tell you something here I'm going to give you some solid fact on something that's pure common sense. It's not going to happen overnight, but the petrodollar is going to definitely take a major hit, and I'm going to give you a super solid reason for that, a couple solid reasons. Now, one, I mentioned that oil prices, all oil is actually priced in U.S. dollars. So what happens is that requires countries to hold large dollar reserves to purchase oil, which is essential to manufacturing, transportation, and heating, and everything essential, right? Everything's produced and transported, and energy costs for heating and producing electricity, or even, it's all coming from mainly oil, right? So these countries buy oil on the market. It's priced in dollars, blah, blah, blah. You know that, right? Now, as the price of oil gets chopped down more than half, now I'm showing a chart here. This is relevant to this. I'll get into this in a second. As the price of oil has got chopped down in half, guess what happens to those dollar reserves? The countries do not have to hold anywhere near as many U.S. dollar reserves because the same amount of oil costs less than half of what it did less than a year ago. So what I'm thinking is, where the hell are these dollars going, man? It's like, in other words, if they ever sold off if the global markets ever sold off the dollar, which it seems they have to be because the price of oil dropped so much, that means they have to hold a lot less dollar reserves in these countries. That's mainly why dollar reserves are being held, is because of oil trade. Well, it's like, that's one thing now. That's one area. Now, you also got to remember which countries hold dollar reserves. Now, look at this chart. The blue, I don't know if it's just coming out very good. It's just a public chart off a wiki, but hey, it's accurate, right? Now, it's a little bit older. It's talking about 73, 74, 80, 1985, Saudi is the blue bar. And this is the revenue. This is the amount of revenue Saudi gets. Now, the agreement with the, petro-Islam, which is Saudi's petro-Islam, right? Iran is not petro-Islam. Saudi's petro-Islam. They invest their dollars, their revenue in U.S. dollars. So not only do the countries that buy the oil have to purchase it in U.S. dollars, unless they're buying it from Iran and doing direct trade like China is trying to do with Iran. That's another factor. But the major oil exporting and producing countries are, like Saudi, is actually investing in U.S. dollars. You know what happened with, Saddam Hussein, right? And, when he tried to go to euros, I think actually he was dead. That was his one of his doubles. I think the policy was changed by his sons because there was I got to mention this. There was an operation that was very risky that Saddam Hussein went to and had performed in Italy to save his life. I don't know. I'll bet you if it wasn't successful, because right after that, the policy with euros to investing in euros changed. That's not a confirmed story, but I figured I'd tell you that here because that makes a lot of sense. Why the hell did he change policy after decades of freaking investing in U.S. dollars? Now, the thing is here, not only when the price of oil drops drastically, what goes on with Saudi's revenues? They drop drastically, right? They're running deficits. Now, they have a hell of a lot of reserves. Their game is, we can outweigh everybody, the U.S. shale oil industry especially, who are actually going in conniptions right now. Actually, they're not going to go under. What's going to happen is they're going to wind up getting bought up by the big guys for pennies on a dollar. But what's going to happen here is that the Saudis, in order to keep this game going with the super low oil prices, they got loads of surpluses, but they're going to have to sell them off. And you know what those surpluses are in? The reserves are in U.S. dollars. So that's another way dollars are being sold off. Two ways, two major ways. The price of oil's dropped down a whole hell of a lot, which means that countries that get purchased the same amount of oil need to only have less than half the U.S. dollar reserves on hand. On top of it, Saudi is not getting as much profit on the oil. Actually, they're running deficits, and that's causing them to sell off their dollar reserves. I don't know how long this situation can go. It's like it seems impossible that it can go that long. It seems impossible that the dollar's staying up this high. But I know the other reason is because the euro has taken a major hit. If you look at the dollar chart right now, it's actually, it's up to like 94 something. It's way the hell up there. It's on a tear. But that's relative to the euro. Which means what? Did the dollar really go up? No. The euro went down. That's because it's heavily weighted against the euro. Now, I'm showing the Israeli Self-Defense Force here, Air Force. Actually, they told Obama basically, go screw. They did a major strike against Hezbollah and Iran. Actually, in the Golden Heights, there was a convoy of senior Iranian and Hezbollah commanders in the Golden Heights, and the Israelis blew them up. You know what I mean? So, it's like, they're going to tell U.S. White House anything anymore. They're just going to go ahead and do it. Now, I know a lot of people on YouTube don't like Israel, but I'm glad they blew these guys up, to tell you the truth, man. Well, you're going to get mad at me for this, but I'm going to tell you, I think Israel's got the right to defend themselves, and say, oh, that's a cliche and whatever. Yeah, well, I guess I guess if you're in a situation, I probably would have been I've probably been, I know Netanyahu is considered kind of radical even by his own countrymen, but I personally see eye to eye with Netanyahu on this deal, because actually I wouldn't have had the patience. I would have whacked these yo-yos a long time ago. But anyway, that's my opinion. But it's telling me that tensions in the Middle East are going up. The White House isn't going to tell Israel what to do. They nailed them, right? So there you go. Which tells me that oil's going to start going back up. Now here's the other thing. Say the U.S. dollar starts losing some of its luster as the world reserve currency. Actually, that's the one thing they said it was the final step, which everybody was dramatizing this years ago. The final step is to devalue the dollar. That's the only way they're going to be able to make ends meet in the U.S. government, because they already got the interest rates down to zero. And I know they're talking about, the end of QA, possibly raising rates and stuff, and even though we got deflation going on temporarily, I think. I really do. I really think deflation is temporary. This is actually, anytime you have hyperinflation, it's like, you get deflation first. It's really the classic example, believe it or not. But, the other thing is, where we got a real problem. They say, made in the USA. Here's a definition of an American company. Packaged in, product designed in the USA, everything else made in China. The Rockefellers, that was their plan, and the Council on Foreign Relations probably was in there involved, but it was like the Committee of 300, the Club of Rome, and it's, they talked about they want to deindustrialize the United States and even things out for the new global government and blah, blah, blah. Actually, when the dollar starts going down in value, it's going to be very, very, very hard for, because of the energy prices will be going way the hell up. It's going to be very, very hard for people to have startup companies in the United States. If they think it's hard now, it's going to be impossible later practically. But I'm going to say this. The answer to the problems actually is us. Silver's like one of your protections, but, I'm a person, I invest in food, firepower, fuel, and tools, and know-how, and health stuff up like crazy in case, the system falls apart or something, you got no access to medical or whatever. And I'm doing everything I possibly can. I mean, it doesn't mean I'm guaranteed to be safe, but I don't just think about silver only, but I think, it's an important aspect. It's going to go way the hell up because it's when oil goes into a super, super bull run, which is like a terrible bull run now. It's the opposite. It's a super, super bear crash. What happens, though, when oil goes into super bull run, that's when the correlation between oil and silver gets tight. Under normal circumstances, there's hardly any correlation between oil and silver, but I think it's going to go back up. And I got to tell you this. There's one foreign product I bought. I know sometimes people on YouTube give me shit about this. I got a Suzuki Samurai SJ410 Jimny 1300. I'll tell you one thing. This is one damn foreign thing I'm glad I got because I must have bought a hell of a lot less foreign oil with this thing running this puppy. And it does everything, man. It does everything. It's basically like a little Willys. That small. And if it said Willys on it, everybody would love it. But I know there's a lot of, there's one foreign thing I personally got, but I can tell you, it goes in the sand, it goes in the mud, and it goes like this dog in the snow. Plows right through there, man. Headlights above the thing. That's basically how it goes, because I used it up there in Jersey in the 95, 96, when we had the 106 inches in northern Jersey. That wasn't the average for the state, but that was like about what upstate New York gets around Buffalo on an average year. And I used the hell out of that damn thing. I think so. It's getting a pause. I'm just ad-libbing here a little bit. It's getting a lock rate locker in here pretty soon. Anyway, but you got to make sure that that's gonna be one area. It's solar panels. I like the idea behind wood burning stoves. I can't believe the EPA. You know what it was with I mentioned this on the other video. We get this super cold garbage going on here, and I actually watch Adapt 2030 a lot. This is going to force the energy prices up. It's going to force the food prices way the hell up. And, you just might need your silver to cash in for freaking essentials. You really might. It may not be a get-rich scheme. It might just be a survival scheme. Not the scenario where, the dollar collapsed and we're going to trade barter. No, I'm talking about, I think when oil goes way the hell up and food goes way up, gold is going to go up. Silver's, it gets legs sometimes really crazy, even way beyond gold. And it just may be where you can get cash for it, sell it for cash, because I think, I watch Adapt 2030, all these guys' videos on a mini ice age. I've been sold on this mini ice age a long time, and it's related to all this silver and the oil prices because this mini ice age is actually starting to occur right now globally, even if it's not in your own town. It's in Vietnam. It's heavy snow in what is it? Algeria. It's heavy snow in Palermo, Sicily, on the island, southern Greece. Saudi Arabia, heavy snow. I said in Vietnam. They had already had a year's worth of snow in China, Russia, and Japan, where they normally get snow, but they already had a year's worth. Sweden had 2 years' worth early on in the winter. They just had an 8.5-foot storm, which is like an all-time record that they don't have records for. And I'm like, plus about what happened up in Buffalo and northern Michigan. I know they get a lot of snow, but they don't get a whole year's worth of snow before the freaking winter starts, and that's what happened upstate. It happened in Michigan, pretty close to records. So it's going to drive the price up a lot. And in Florida, I'm not going to have to worry about snow. If the climate changes drastically, the worst you're going to ever get down here is a dusting. But I think in other parts of the country you will. Actually, I got a feeling that these older style Jeeps with a diesel is going to be one of the deals they get. You can run vegetable oil off them. So, because I think the energy prices are going to go right through the freaking roof. And, if we have, talking about some of this garbage, just ad-libbing here a little bit on his stuff with the Jeep stuff or the transportation. All the high-tech cars that we got today with electronics, man, if you just had one aerial burst, one EMP-style weapon, all transportation would shut down. Not only the power grid, but it would fry all the electronics. You just wouldn't be able to freaking fix all that crap. You got to go old school. Like this thing doesn't have a computer. It's just got an igniter. That's it, man. That thing would be fine. And if you go diesel, you're EMP proof. I'm just putting this out here because, I know a lot of people on silver channels are thinking about survival, but it's a hell of a lot of work to do it, though. A hell of a lot of work to do it. I'm going to tell you that right now. But, the Illuminati got their plans and they got their hands on us, man. That's what they're doing. I put that thing out about the EPA banning. Well, you know what? The EPA didn't really think of banning the stoves and the wood-burning stoves and having all these regulations. Actually, a lot of these, well, it depends on where you buy them, but sometimes now that you have to get an EPA-approved wood-burning stove to heat your house, nobody's thinking about this right now because home heating oil is low, but the rules are in effect. Wait till next year or something, or even towards the end of this winter. Maybe people won't be panicking. But by next year, the prices will be way the hell up there. And everyone's going to say, you mean I can't buy a wood-burning stove cost me over $2,000 because it's EPA approved? And, you go through all these regulations with permits and junk and whatever. I mean, it's going to be a mess, man. And the Illuminati, they got their hands on us. And most people aren't thinking about what the hell's going on. That's why he got out of New Jersey, because there's a lot of those people up there like that. Big time. Depends on where you're at, but wow. Anyway, I'll go with the South, the West, the Midwest, or the extreme Northeast in Maine, New Hampshire, or something like that. But anyway, it's like you got to really keep your antenna out. Like the lady here's got her deer antlers on, and she's got her glowing lights in her hand. You really got to keep out with what the trend is going to be. It's like there's too many people that think about the exact here and now and instant gratification. The silver damn thing, I'll call it that, has been like, wow, it's really got slammed down more than I expected and for longer than I expected. But that's the nature of commodities, because they can reverse that whole trend completely. And I think that's what's going to happen is the oil is, like I said, once Saudi puts a hurt locker on other industries and the dollar starts losing clout in the world, it's going to start dropping, because if all oil is priced in dollars and the dollar starts losing its value because people are dumping the dollar, because, in other words, not even countries that, let's say countries that are friendly to the USA and they keep dollar reserves, and that's their policy to buy oil. They're not trying to dump the dollar. They only have to keep half the dollar reserves they need before, because the price of oil is less than half. Saudi is also selling off their oil, their revenue, their surpluses, what do we call it, the reserves in dollars, because they're running deficits right now, and they could do this a long time, but they're selling off their dollars to keep their country afloat with all the subsidies they have out there. It's in, with all the people, to keep their country afloat while they try to crush out, eat Russia and the U.S. shale oil industry. So what the hell you think's going to happen with the dollar? It's going up, right? Don't make sense. It don't make sense. But, like I said, you got to keep the long-term trend. Just one vehicle I'm going to keep, man. This little Suzuki, man. It might have a VW diesel in it someday if the HHO doesn't work out as good as I expected with the HHO and the K&N filter. But if I get a solid 30 miles per gallon with this little four-wheel drive, and it ain't going to be too bad, even if gas was like $6 a gallon. So, that ain't that bad. But anyway, just want to point out some common sense things. Everything's not being manufactured in the United States. Now, I'm going to say the other way things are being manufactured in the United States is if you yourself buy the tools and stuff to manufacture your own stuff that you need. So I'm one person that got a load of tools. All kinds of stuff, man. I'm equipped. I've been equipped like a professional in mechanics, I think, since I was like about 18, 19 years old, maybe 20. And I used to be into that stuff a lot more before I got into accounting, finance. And I got to tell you right now, though, the people in the, what do you call them? The ones that are in the what the hell is it? The offices? They don't know anything. God. Fool. They don't know anything, man. They got two. They're all thumbs. They know their one little area, and that's about it. They're really good in their one little area, but they're helpless. They're helpless for the most part. Most of them are helpless. It's amazing. And I don't think the status quo is going to keep going. So, the writing's on the wall, and the girl with the antenna and the light beams in her hand, she's picking up the frequencies of what's going on. I just told you a few reasons why the dollar's got to go down. I mean, it's not drama. I mean, it's not like I'm playing some music in the background and going, ah! I'm telling you, first off, the oil, I'm saying it one more time. The oil is less than half the price. The countries that are even friendly to the United States are not trying to sell off dollar reserves. They keep dollar reserves to buy oil. Since oil is half the price, that means they have to keep half the dollar reserves to buy that oil. So where do those dollars go? Number two, Saudi invests in U.S. dollars with the surpluses it gets from all the oil revenue. It's not getting surpluses, so it's not investing in U.S. dollars. So how is that helping the U.S. dollar? Number three, Saudi is now running deficits. They can run deficits way longer than anybody else on this earth because they're loaded, right? But the point is, while they're running deficits, how are they paying for to run the deficits for all the government programs and everything they subsidize in the country? They're selling off their reserves. What are their reserves in? U.S. dollars. And as we look today, the dollar is going up. But the dollar is only going up because the euro went down so much. Because the euro announced they're doing super QE or QE or something. I'm getting tired of this shit too, to tell you the truth, man. It's like, but I'm doing these videos for a reason, because I don't like the drama yo-yos out there. But there is the hidden hand, the Illuminati, right? They got tattoos all over us. They got flower cat prints up our legs and whatever the hell it is, and 3 hands on us. It's like, they're trying to screw us over in all kinds of ways. Most people are not awake. But then again, the people that aren't awake are a bunch of drama queens, and I don't like that deal either. So I'm just giving you a straight up scoop. So I think I gave you some really solid facts why, the dollar's got to be losing a lot of clout. That doesn't mean it's going out of business all the way, okay? The dollar's going to be around a long time. It's just going to lose clout. It's going to lose a good. It may just be part of the world reserve currency. There might be other things out there. The dollar's not going to go to oblivion like these yo-yos are saying. It may someday, but not, years and years from now. And unless we get attacked by nuclear weapons. Then of course, you're not going to be worrying about what the hell your money's worried about. You'd be worried about how deep a hole can I dig with with 4x4s over it. How's my radiac meter working in? And my gas mask got new filters and whatever. I don't know. I'm just kidding. But you know what I mean. There's always these extraordinary circumstances where the dollar could go to zero, but I'm talking about what's going on right now with normal things. It's like it's going down, but it doesn't mean it's going to zero. So don't be afraid to take cash if silver starts going way the hell up. I know what these yo-yos are going to do. David Morgan and Sprott are going to be selling while he's saying, the dollar's going to zero. They'll be selling. They'll be taking dollars. I warned you this a few times before, okay? Anyway, watch out for them Illuminati, man. See that 3 hands? I don't know what that deal is. It's weird, ain't it?